Have you ever thought about what truly gives money its worth? It is not just the paper it is printed on, but the confidence people have in the government backing it. When that trust erodes, so does the money's power to purchase goods and services. Confederate money, officially known as the Confederate dollar or colloquially as the grayback, lost its value at an astonishing rate primarily due to overwhelming inflation driven by a collapse in public confidence, the Confederacy's inability to adequately tax its citizens, and its reliance on excessive printing presses to fund the war. The core mechanism behind this hyperinflation was the Confederacy's financial strategy, or rather, its lack of one. With a largely agrarian economy, little manufacturing, and a Union blockade stifling trade, the Confederate government had minimal sources of revenue. They were reluctant to impose heavy taxes on their population and found it difficult to borrow significant funds internationally. Consequently, they resorted to printing vast quantities of unbacked paper currency, which flooded the market and drastically reduced the purchasing power of each note. Understanding this process helps explain why a currency might fail during wartime. The Confederate government initially issued treasury notes that promised redemption in specie, which is gold or silver, 6 months after a peace treaty. However, as the war progressed and prospects dimmed, the likelihood of this redemption became increasingly remote. Farmers and merchants began to hoard goods, refusing to sell for depreciating paper, which further exacerbated shortages and drove prices even higher. Soldiers often found their pay barely enough to buy basic necessities for their families. An interesting detail is that the Confederacy tried several measures to stabilize its currency, including forced loans and various tax acts, but these were often too little, too late, or poorly enforced. For instance, the produce loan allowed individuals to exchange agricultural products for bonds, but it did not generate nearly enough revenue. The Currency Reform Act of 1860 attempted to reduce the money supply by depreciating older notes, but this only further destroyed public trust in the government's financial management. Ultimately, the rapid devaluation of Confederate money stands as a stark historical lesson on the critical link between a government's fiscal stability, its military success, and the fundamental trust of its populace. Without a strong economic base or the confidence that victory would eventually secure its financial promises, the Confederate dollar simply became worthless paper, a tangible symbol of a lost cause.